And we're live. What is going on, everybody? My name is Nikki Smokes, joined by my co-host Bobby, and you are listening to The Smoke Show. Happy Wacky Wednesday. Happy, what's another word that starts with
Wild?
W? Watermelon? Wild Wednesday? Wild Watermelon Wednesday?
We could run with that. We could workshop it.
Wicked Wednesday?
Dude, why am I blanking on W's right now? Walrus Wednesday?
What'd you say?
Walrus.
Walrus Wednesday?
It's the first W I could think of. Yeah, we got to work on that. We got to work on that for sure.
Can you think of a Miami Dolphins related term that starts with W? You notice how you didn't say win?
Yeah, that's tough. I wish that was the first word that came to business for me with Dolphins.
That hit deep.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyway, happy Wednesday. I hope work wasn't too bad on you. Golf swing's coming along. It's
Been
nice.
grinding it.
Yeah. We're trying to get there. We got a nice little episode today. We got top 5. You got 15. I only got 5. Receiving cores in the NFL. Then the gift that keeps on giving. What could have been for the Miami Dolphins. And we will not be talking about Tua today. I promised Bobby that. He said, I am down to talk about anything except Tua. We talk about him every time, and I agree. We will not be talking about Tua Tagovailoa today. So, without further ado, let's get into our top 5 receiving core. Now, this is a receiving core list. This involves people that receive the football. It does not only have to be wide receivers. It could be a mix of wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. Whoever receives the ball the best, this is who we're going with. So, Bobby,
you know what's going to happen here, right? Is me and you are going to have the exact same list, like we do every time.
No way. I purposely made weird ones.
Okay, we haven't talked, so we're going to see how it goes. I'll start with my number 1. I feel like a lot of people.
No, start at 5. Start at 5. We're both going to start at 5. Ready?
Yeah, starting at 5. I'm giving it to the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think you can overlook Kittle. Kittle's an absolute wagon. And then Debo, obviously. Debo's an absolute monster. I think Ayuk is still going to be a great player. He's still young, contributed last year. And then their third guy was Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, not bad. I think that's a solid top 5, and that most teams in the NFL would be happy to throw the ball to those guys.
All right, so I want everyone to know that my list is based off, one, it's a utopia. Like, everyone is healthy. There's no injuries. There's no suspensions. This is like when you're playing your Madden career and you have the sliders up or you turn injuries off. This is everyone is 100% healthy. There's no suspension.
Okay.
At number 5, I have the New Orleans Saints. I got Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry. That is a 3-headed dragon. I love Jarvis Landry. I believe if you ask any Dolphins fan that they love Jarvis Landry, when Michael Thomas is playing, he hasn't been able to play in like a year and a half, 2 years, but when he's playing, he's phenomenal. And Chris Olave, I think he was the best wide receiver at Ohio State. I know the Jets ended up taking Garrett Wilson, whatever, but that is exactly why Olave is better, because the Jets decided that they'd rather have Garrett over Chris Olave. So I love that big 3. I got the Saints as the number 5 receiving core in the NFL.
And you got Kamara catching balls out of the back. I mean, he's an absolute weapon.
How do I not even think about that? And fucking Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I like that Saints pick. I was going through and I was like doing the rankings, and when I got to the Saints, I was like, okay, they got a pretty good arsenal there, but I don't have them in my top 5. Moving right along, I'm going with Rams at 4. Cooper Kupp, we all know Cooper Kupp, how good he is. It always feels like they have Cooper Kupp and then someone else. It was Robert Woods before, and now they brought in Allen Robinson. People sleep on Allen Robinson just because he wasted all those years in Chicago with terrible quarterback play. And then Van Jefferson is an absolute monster too. So I fuck with Van, and I'll round it off with Tyler Higbee at tight end. Great player. I think the Rams are good. Great receiving core.
Yeah, they only won the Super Bowl. Next up, this is my curveball. I got the Washington Commanders at number 4. We got Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel. Again, this is everyone has to be healthy. Everyone plays. I like me some Curtis Samuel if he plays. I love some Jahan Dotson, absolute dog. I'm banking on these rookies to be live, and I really think Dotson's going to be that dude. And Scary Terry, man. Y'all got to put some respect on Scary Terry's name. Like, he could be top 5 in the league. He does not get the respect he deserves, but you know what you do get? You get Scary Terry on your NFL Red Zone every Sunday. You see his name about 3-4 times, making some plays that just leave you speechless. Scary Terry is that dude. Who do you got at 3?
I mean, Scary Terry is a fantasy monster. He's the guy you want to go get in fantasy because he's getting all those receptions. But I got to hold you here, bro. I ranked 15 teams, and Washington didn't cross my list. You got him up at number 4?
I told you I had a curveball. I mean, I like the Vikings. But they don't have a number 3. Like, they got Jetta and Thielen.
Yeah.
They don't really have a number 3.
I can respect it.
And everyone slobs up the Raiders. And I have a feeling you're about to say the Raiders. Like, Renfro is the most overrated wide receiver. They overpaid the shit out of him. They got Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfro, and no one else. And obviously Darren Waller. But from a wide receiving standpoint, I'm not sold on Hunter Renfro.
Let me hold you here, brother. You're forgetting a big name on that team. I expect him to come in and catch touchdowns just like he did for the Dolphins, ride his bike to the stadium,
Wilson.
wear an afro. It's Mac Hollins.
It's Mac Hollins.
It's big Mac Hollins in the building, baby. But no, I got them at 3. I feel like Adams is my number 1 receiver in the league, so they starting up pretty high. And then I'm putting Waller as 1 or 2 at tight end at the current moment, in my opinion. I think Kelsey's dropped off a touch, which he had to at some point because he's been the most spectacular tight end we've seen. So I'm taking that Raiders team at 3. Adams, Renfro, Waller. I do agree with you. I think that Renfro's a little overrated, but I think with the pieces they have, he fits nice in that little slot route. He starts running those good routes, has good hands. So give me the Raiders at 3. I think that they got some weapons over there.
All right. I got at number 3, I have your number 4. I got the LA Rams. They got Cooper Kupp, OBJ if he comes back, Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson. They got a great running back committee led by Matthew Stafford, obviously. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about putting them at number 1. If they bring back OBJ and have Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, healthy OBJ, and Van Jefferson, that's 4 absolute savages. I think the Rams have fantastic skill players, and they're obviously a fantastic team. They just won the Super Bowl. So I got the Rams at 3. I think we both had the same team at number 2.
I don't know. We both got the same 1, 2, but what's the order? I had to be honest here, and I couldn't give it to my Miami Dolphins, man. I gave the Bengals 1. I gave the Dolphins 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it edge out the Bengals just because they have 3 bona fide studs at wide receiver. I mean, Chase, Higgins, Boyd. Those are 3 really great players. The Dolphins have 2 studs at wide receiver, though. Absolute studs. I think Tyreek is better than any of the 3, and then I think Waddle is right there with those other 3 I mentioned. Why I had to give them the edge is our 3-4 receiver isn't the best. Cedric Wilson, Lynn Bowden, Preston Williams. Who knows where that's going to come out?
A healthy Preston isn't that bad, though.
A healthy Preston is a rare sight, though, is what that is.
Yeah,
we don't see a healthy Preston very
sighting.
Often. Yeah. He needs to change his sleeves on his jersey, too, because he wears those long, baggy sleeves. He looks like an absolute crumb. But we do got Mike G, too. We didn't say anything about Mike G. It's a big year for Mike G. I'm calling that this year. Mike G, contract year, new weapons. You've heard it before. You never heard it from me, so I'm giving it to you this year.
Ooh. Yeah, we got the same 1-2 punch. I got the Dolphins at 2. Tyreek Hill. I mean, good luck, brother. I think he's the best receiver in the league. Sorry, Devontae Adams. I know you're a dog, but you ain't no Tyreek Hill. Talking about. Then Jaylen Waddle. I think he's up there with Jamar Chase. I'm not saying he's better than him, but you can make the argument that over the course of their career, he might be. I think Jaylen Waddle's really, really talented. I think if the Dolphins were to redraft, they would have stayed at 3 and either took Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, but that's not a knock on Waddle. I think Waddle competes with both of those guys. So we got Tyreek, we got Waddle. Cedric Wilson was a huge signing for us. I love Cedric. And I like Preston in the 4. I like Lynn Bowden in the 4. But like you said, that doesn't compare to Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, like, and they got Mixon in the backfield. Like, he's unbelievable with the ball in his hands. An honorable mention to the LA Chargers, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. Like, it is so hard to just come up with 5 teams for receivers these days because everyone is just so fucking talented.
Yeah, I got to give an honorable mention as well to the Eagles. I mean, adding
Yeah.
AJ Brown, who's unbelievable, and then Devontae Smith, obviously. But where they get held back is that 3-4. Rager and Quez Watkins just aren't it. But I do have a question because I don't even know your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
So after we obviously traded out of that pick, we moved back down to 6, I think it was, right? 6 is where we picked Jaylen Waddle. Did you want Waddle or did you want Devontae Smith in that moment? Once we knew that Chase and the tight end were no longer options, I'm curious what you thought.
It's funny that you say that because the whole time leading up to the draft, even when we originally went back to 12, I was like, I want Devontae Smith. I was like, I want Smith. I want Smith. I want Smith. And I said it all the way through. I said, I want Smith. I want Smith. I want Smith. And then I went to the draft party at Hard Rock Stadium, and like they let the fans go into like where the players do their press conferences, like where they do their media rooms. And I went up on the podium and I said, with the 6th pick in the 2021 NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jaylen Waddle. And that was like the first time that I've ever said his name. So to answer your question, I always wanted Smith. But when I walked into Hard Rock Stadium before they announced the pick, like something just told me I want Jaylen Waddle. And I really think we made the right decision. That's not a knock on Smith. I think Smith is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I just like what you could do more with Waddle, you know, whether it's jet screens, just give him the ball, let him run. Smith's a great route runner. He's a fantastic route runner, and so is Waddle. But I think Waddle, what flipped it for me is when I was watching their tape. Like I was watching Smith, I was like, man, like this guy gets separation. And then I'm watching Waddle, and I'm like, bro, no one can touch this guy. Like, I'm just watching him catch the ball 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he's gone. I mean, it was unbelievable. Once I watched Waddle's tape, I was like, bro, I want that guy on my football team.
Dude, I weirdly had like this obsession with Waddle in college. I remember when he got hurt and then came back in and was like kind of limping around but still playing at Alabama.
Yeah, in the national championship.
Yeah, I believe I have a tweet out there. I could probably look it up. But I remember writing, please get Jaylen Waddle off the field and get him ready for his Miami Dolphins debut. And that was back in the moment back then. And I went to the draft 2021. So I was in Cleveland for that. I bet mad money. Dolphins were drafting Waddle at 6. We cashed that ticket. It was out in the rain. Have you ever been to an NFL draft? It's cool. I don't know if I'd ever go to another one, though, but it was cool. It was an experience.
Wait, you went to one?
Yeah, I went to the Waddle
draft.
I'm
looking at I'm looking at all your tweets right now about Jaylen Waddle. This is great. Keep going.
Yeah, dude. So I went to the draft. 2021. It was a pretty cool experience. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you get to see like the ESPN shows doing their thing. I had a conversation with Orlovsky. Schefter walked by me. I said something to Schefter, so you get to see all the people and whatnot. And then you're just out there with like the cool thing about it is you're out there with just a bunch of fans. Like everyone's there just buying hope because it's the NFL draft. We don't know if any of these guys are going to pan out, but we're all hoping they do. So every single person in there had like the same belief. And I'm curious as what this tweet says.
I hope to see future Miami Dolphin Jaylen Waddle play and dominate tonight, January 11, 2021.
See?
You spelled his name wrong, but at least you had the right intention.
Yeah, I got to know him a little bit, man. I didn't know the kid that well, and then I got to know him a little bit when he became one of ours, and I had to get the spell check going. So shout out to Jaylen Waddle. That was a good night. I hope he becomes a future Hall of Fame Dolphin so I can say I was there when he drafted him.
I want to ask you about the draft. So you said it was a good experience, but you wouldn't do it again, right? And I feel like, especially if you're there for the first round, it has to be the most boring thing of all time, in my opinion. You're sitting there, they're milking the fuck out of it. Like, you already know the team has their pick, and you're just sitting there doing, like, what are you doing while the clock's ticking? Are you just standing there, or are you, like, what are you doing?
I won't even lie to you, bro. The first night of the draft, so night one, I'm a draft nerd. I love that shit. I love seeing where players go. I fill out a mock. This is the one year I haven't been that into it. It's because the Dolphins had no picks, so it was like, why even bother? But, I mean, we got there. We were pretty jacked up, drank some beers and whatnot, get there. all of a sudden the temperature dropped about 20 degrees and it started downpouring,
Jeez.
raining. So we're just sitting there in the rain. A couple of my buddies were like, I think I'm just going to go to the bar. So I was like, no, not me. I'm at the fucking NFL draft. I'm going to stand here for all 32 picks. I'm going to watch it. And for me, I mean, I'm a gambler. So I was gambling on everything. I had Dolphins picking Waddle 6. I had this pick here. I'm refreshing my Twitter to see how it looks like it's going. So in the moment, I mean, it wasn't that bad. But looking back on it, there was definitely so many boring moments, so many people. Like, I don't love being in atmospheres where I'm waiting in lines, bumping into people. Like, I like to have my space and do my thing. So that's why I said I'd probably never go back, especially because it was outside. I always wanted to go to one in Radio City Music Hall. That's where it looked like it was the most legit. I don't know why they moved it from there, honestly. I feel like they should have just kept it there the whole time. But, I mean, it was cool. But like I said, I don't know if I'd go do it again.
Right. Now, I went to the Dolphins draft party at Hard Rock Stadium the year that we drafted Waddle. And that was a great experience because you're just surrounded by a bunch of Dolphin fans. You're on the field. Like, everyone's on the field. They're walking around. Like, you got drinks, bars. They got the inside really nice restaurants open. Like, everything's wide open. Everything's lit. And I had a great time. And when your team is picking at 6, it makes it so much better. You know, you're like, we're about to get a guy that could potentially change our franchise forever. So I was down for that. I had a great time there. I would definitely do that again. The only reason why I didn't go this year is because we didn't pick till the 4th round. I don't even think they had one this year because we didn't pick until the 4th round.
No, that's fire though. Being with all the Dolphins fans and just having like that energy because everyone's just there for the same reason, bro. We just want to draft a stud who's going to go on to be the future of the Dolphins. And that's why the NFL draft is so great for teams that aren't very good. Because you get that that bit of hope, that bit of, we drafted this guy in the 1st, this guy in the 2nd. He's going to come star. We're making a turnaround. So I love draft night. Draft night will always be special. But I hope that going forward, it's not as important for the Dolphins because we'll be picking near the end.
Amen. And the best part about having those draft picks early is because we're gamblers. Like, when the Dolphins have 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks, I am hawking all the lines. This year, I didn't hawk at all because I didn't give a fuck about the draft. But last year, bro, you can make serious coin off the draft. All you have to do is get whoever you think is going to go where early. And then if the line changes all of a sudden and it goes to some other guy, and you're like, for instance, Mac Jones, like, he was the favorite to go to San Francisco. Then all of a sudden, Trey Lance goes from plus 500 to plus 275. Like, you steamroll that. And you can make some serious coin. I made some serious bread on the NFL draft. Next thing I want to talk about, the gift that keeps on giving. What could have been for the Miami Dolphins? Let's go back to, I'm only 22, so my first chapter is Drew Brees. The gift that keeps on giving. What could have been? Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. Next, it's possibly Peyton Manning. Then it's possibly Sean Payton, possibly Tom Brady. Am I missing some? I'm definitely missing like a bunch, right? I have to be missing at least 4 to 5.
I mean, you can start adding in. Top of my head. You can start adding in guys we drafted over guys we didn't draft. I mean, trading up for Deion Jordan instead of some of the quarterbacks. We drafted Ted Ginn in the 1st round. No disrespect to Ted Ginn, but like that was never the pick. Although I did want them to draft Brady Quinn that year, and I remember punching a wall and my dad screaming at me. But yeah, man, it's a story of what could have been, what went wrong, where did we fuck it up? I mean, you could go a million different directions on that.
And our latest chapter is Mike Tomlin was too hip to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Can you believe that? He was too hip to be the head coach of probably the worst team in the last 20 years besides the Detroit Lions. Cam Cameron, that's who we went with. Cam Cameron over Mike Tomlin. And by the way, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season his entire career. But he was too hip to coach the dumpy Dolphins.
No, dude. It's brutal. And where this is coming from is the Pivot podcast, which is Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, former Dolphin, Fred Taylor. They do their podcast now. They split away from that other one with Brandon Marshall. And they had Mike Tomlin on. And honestly, if you like football, I suggest you go listen to it. I think Mike T is the coolest dude in the world. He just has these sayings and these motivational like reasonings and just the shit. The way he talks, I'd run through a brick wall for the guy. But they were talking about it, and Channing Crowder like looked at him after he said something and goes, man, if you would have been the Dolphins coach, I would have been a Hall of Famer. And Tomlin just laughed. And he said, I was supposed to be the Dolphins coach. They didn't pick me. They picked what's his fucking name? Cam Cameron instead. And Shannon Crowder just laughed and said, yeah, too hip, right? And Tomlin said, yeah, that's what I've been told was the reason why. So we didn't hire this guy because he was too hip. A guy in Miami, too hip. When you look at the Dolphins now, what do we talk about with McDaniel? Oh, he wears the jumpsuits, the Yeezys. This guy's cool. He's hip. He's hip. He's cool with the players. And if you listen to the interview, just go back and listen to it. He talks about relationships with players and how great it is. And I just sat there befuddled because I'm like, dude, this is the guy. Hasn't had a losing season in Pittsburgh once in his career. He managed to pull it together in 2019 when Ben Roethlisberger went down and they had Mason Rudolph for a whole year. This guy still had a winning season. I mean, it's spectacular what he's done. And then if you want to go to what the Dolphins have done afterwards, instead of hiring Mike Tomlin, who we could have just had the whole time, we've hired 8 guys since. Cam Cameron, Tony Sperano, RIP, Todd Bowles, interim, Mike Philbin, Dan Campbell, interim, Adam Gase, Brian Flores, and now we're on Mike McDaniel. We could have simply just hired the hip defensive coach from Pittsburgh who would later go on to dominate. But no, that's not what we did because we're the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, my God. We have to be cursed. Like, we're cursed. Like, there's no other explanation. And Mike McDaniel is the only way we break this curse. That or Stephen Ross has to die. Because he has done everything in his power to build a winning team. He even put a slip and slide in the training room. I mean, he is doing everything that he can to make this team win. And it's not working. No matter how hard he tries, no matter what players he brings on a yacht, no matter how much he offers a head coach to lose, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. And he's trying. And the only thing that makes sense is that you're cursed. And it's not like we're doing this. Well, we kind of are doing the same thing over and over again. We're drafting the wrong guy. Then we have to get rid of him. Then we have to fire a coach. Then we have to get a new coach. Then he sucks. Then we have to get another one. Then, oh, well, we just wasted 7 years on the quarterback. Really, he sucks. Let's go get another one. Oh, wait, we got a quarterback, but now we have to go build an offensive line. Oh, we built the offensive line, but now we don't have enough skill guys. Okay, trade our offensive line, get draft picks. Oh, yeah, then we get that. And then it's just like, oh, great, we're still 8-8. 9-8, 7-9, 10-6 the 1 year, and we don't make the playoffs. Win the AFC East 1 year with Chad Pennington. Brady tears his ACL, and we barely get in when the Patriots have Matt Castle at quarterback. I mean, come on, bro. How is that possible?
It has to be cursed. There has to be something down there where, I mean, what's the story about where the stadium's built? It's over the Indian burial ground or something like that?
Yeah, it is. It's built on an Indian burial ground.
I mean, that sounds like the worst kind of vibes of all time. There's got to be something, man. And I feel like I'm hoping. I mean, all I can do is hope and pray at this point that we finally did crack the code and find the solution, because it does seem like the team should be more well-balanced this year and the question mark should be way lesser and the team should be filled out. And now we brought in this young hip coach who's supposed to bring the running game and bring the offense and bring the energy. And so far, so good. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. But, man, when you go back and you listen to what could have been, it's just like an endless story of tales that could have changed everything.
I agree. It's so depressing to even think about it. I want to ask you a quick question. If you need a minute to answer it, by all means, take your time.
Okay.
Who is the most underrated player on the Miami Dolphins?
Okay. Most underrated player on the Miami Dolphins. Let me pull up the Miami Dolphins roster. Should know off the top of my head, but, underrated, it's not going to come to the top of your head, I feel like. Do you already have someone in mind?
No. I mean, I kind of do, but I kind of don't at the same time. What about overrated? Is that easier?
Overrated, I would say, would be Byron Jones. Just because we paid so much money for him. We paid so much money for him. I think he's the most underrated. I mean, it's tough to call him underrated when we paid him a contract and he was getting paid more than Xavier Howard up until last year. He was getting paid the cornerback one money on our team up until Xavier did his holdout and all that. So, I mean, from like a how people talk about him standpoint, I don't think he's underrated. or overrated, but based on his contract, I would say he's a little overrated. But I got nothing against him. I think he's a great cornerback number 2. But that would be my answer for overrated.
Okay. What about underrated?
I mean, does Javon Holland count? Are people talking about him? What's his rating scale?
I don't know.
Javon
Like,
Holland
see,
is
I think
disgusting.
he's such a dog. He's such a fucking beast, bro.
Like I don't know if people are still sleeping on him, but he is going to be a top 5 safety in the NFL this year. I'm thinking. So people better get familiar with that boy. Our boy Kevin was with him last night at the NFT thing. I got to ask how that went. It looked lit from his Snapchat stories though. But dude,
Okay,
underrated.
I got mine.
It's got to be one of the
mine.
running backs. I don't know which running back it is, but it's got to be one of the running backs because no one's really talking about him. We don't know which one's going to start.
Okay, I like that. I'll piggyback off that. Raheem Mostert. If Raheem Mostert is healthy, he is electric. He's a guy I target every year in fantasy. I shouldn't tell you that because we're in the same fantasy league, but I love Raheem, and he is so great in fantasy and in real life, and he's so fast. He's so fast. He makes fast people not look fast. Like, he is unbelievable. I'll go with him as my most underrated player, even though like we haven't really seen him play in a Dolphins uniform. But my most overrated player is Mike Gesicki. I mean, we talk about him every year.
Yeah.
We get excited. Oh, he's so elite, blah, 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 blah. Had 2 touchdowns last season. Hasn't broke 800 yards once in his career. Do I think he's athletic? Do I think he has a great set of hands? Yes. But can he block? No. You can't block. And it's not like, at least so far, he hasn't been the focal point of our offense. I mean, he had 53 catches in 2020, 6 touchdowns, only 700 yards. 2021, 73 catches, 780 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I feel like we always talk about him every year like he could be a top 5 tight end in the NFL.
Like
and that's
I did
just
earlier.
Not the case.
So
that's what I'm saying.
I think I literally said that earlier. But no, I 100% know what you mean. And it's just like the number one thing about Mike Gesicki that pisses me off is he's got me blocked on Twitter. And I still can't crack the code on that. I keyword searched his name. I looked through anything that I could have said about him that possibly like he maybe saw. Nothing. I've never done anything to this fucking guy.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing. He blocks a lot of Dolphin fans. I don't know why.
And like one of my like good friends is like really good buddies with him. Roomed with him at Penn State. Like when we drafted him, he was hype. He was sending me videos of them hooping together at Penn State in the gym. Mike G was throwing down these fucking windmills. It was disgusting.
Maybe your boy isn't your boy.
No,
like,
that's
maybe
my
he's
boy.
over there like shit talking you. Like, yo,
He's
like this
solid.
man's a Dolphin fan. Like blah 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 blah. Like maybe your boy is just not giving you the good vibes for Mike Gesicki.
That's true. He might be the rat, bro. I might have to go check him and be like, what's
You
going
might.
on here? Because you're the
Be
only
like, bro.
connection between me and Mike G.
How did he room with Mike Gesicki?
He played football at Penn State.
Oh damn! So he's a dog.
He went to like the big private school around here, but then he ended up messing his arm up, so he never got any shine. Did you ever see Penn State when they had that kid on the sidelines who would wear all the chains and he'd have a mustache? They'd show him on like College Game Day and stuff, but that was him, like because he couldn't end up playing, so he ended up being like a student coach, and he would just before every game, all the players would take their chains off and put them on him. So he would just have a fucking dripped out pile of chains on his neck, and it was the coolest thing ever, to be honest.
Shut up! I'm gonna look it up. Penn State.
It'll come up. Necklace, something.
Sideline necklace. Images.
There he is. First and second.
This is your fucking boy?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I swear to God.
Hold on. Let me get this pulled up. Was he a quarterback or something?
Yeah, he was a quarterback.
Dude, why is this tweeting?
He was gross, dude. He was in like Sports Illustrated when he was like 6 years old because he was like supposed to be like unreal.
Okay, here we go. That is hilarious.
That's the guy right there, bro. Jake Zumbach.
They all just walked up and threw their chain on him?
Yeah, yo, because he's like a homie. He's like a good kid. He couldn't play. He was on the sidelines, and then he turned it into like a thing where he would just be iced out on the sidelines, and he'd always be getting so many cameras on him because it's like, yo, who's this kid wearing 20 necklaces on the sideline at Penn State? But yeah, that's my boy.
This is fucking great, dog. That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's sweet, dude.
That's a pretty sick connection right there.
Now he runs a quarterback camp. Shout out my boy Jake Zumbach.
He does? Damn, good for him. Glad he found something. That's tough, especially when you've been the man your whole fucking life, and then you get to where you worked your whole life for, and you can't even fucking play.
Yep,
That
so
blows.
stupid.
Yep, dude. I just had. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I like what John Ruiz just said. You put it on the screen real quick. Sealer is underrated, bro. 100% underrated. People don't
That's
even
why I
really
think
talk about
Gesicki's
him.
overrated because he could lose his spot. Like if we didn't re-sign Gesicki, I'm not losing sleep.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, Sealer doesn't play tight end. Sealer plays D-line.
Oh, I
Jack
thought he was
Sealer?
talking about Smythe. My bad. I'm tripping.
No, you're good. I
Yeah,
was confused for a second.
that's a great point though too. I mean, he's a beast up front. He's huge for us up front.
Wilkins would be another one. I think Wilkins does a lot for this team where people don't really appreciate him, but he plays D tackle. So I mean, D tackles don't always get a lot of love. So that's the type of position that usually is underrated. And I feel like he's a voice in our locker room, like good energy guy, good vibes guy. People love to be around him. So I would actually change my pick to Wilkins. I think that's my official pick.
Yeah. No, I like Sealer a lot. But back to my point, I do think Smythe and all the tight ends that we do have, I think that makes Gesicki very replaceable.
Yeah, I mean, Gesicki is either going to have to ball out this year and we're going to have to pay him an absolute bag, or it's going to be mediocre and we let him walk. Like, I don't think there's any in between because the tight ends, man, there's like, 4 or 5. There's 3 great ones, 4 or 5 solid ones, and then from there it drops off a cliff. So I don't want to pay big money to a guy who's not going to perform when we can just go get like a league average guy and be no problem.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. What do you think? What do you think is our biggest asset, like our biggest advantage from a positional group standpoint?
I think it's just the secondary as a whole, in my opinion. I mean, receiver, obviously, but that's new this year. I still need to see that come together. I mean, our secondary, though, you put Xavier Howard and Byron Jones next to each other, and then you add this rookie Javon Holland, who's an absolute lunatic out there.
Brandon Jones, that's my underrated guy.
Good call, yeah.
That's another underrated player on the Dolphins. I love Brandon Jones. He's phenomenal, and he's a Texas kid.
He's great. I think our secondary really gives us life on defense. Hopefully this year the pass rush can pipe it up even just a little bit more. That makes the secondary's job even a little bit more easy. So we'll see. I think I'm still encouraged as all hell about the defense. The defense should be phenomenal this year.
Yeah, no, I'm fired up. I'm with you. I think we have the best secondary in the NFL. I mean, that could be another video for another day, but I don't think there's a better secondary in the entire league. I mean, we're talking corner to corner, safety to safety. There, even Nick, bro, underrated player, Nick Needham.
Superstar.
Needham's a dog, bro. He could guard anyone in the slot. He's a beast. I love Nick Needham.
I wish that our boy Noah Igbenogany could be worth a shit and he could be mentioned in this conversation. But keep showing up first to practice and keep staying last. Maybe something will come along. We're not giving up on you yet, kid. But so far, not great, bud. I hope one day we could be mentioning you in this starting secondary role.
Yeah, maybe, or just get off the special teams unit. Anyway, we'll wrap it up with that. I'm your host, Nicky Smokes, joined by my co-host Bobby. And shout out 416J. Yeah, sir, we just did mention Brandon Jones. How you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys Friday for Fired Up Friday. I know last time I said we were going to do that, and then it didn't work out, but it will happen. I don't care if I have to fucking record it in my car. We will see you guys Friday at 5 p.m. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Oh, yeah. Fins up, baby.